Blocked by Sugita. Comes out for a blast! Exclamation point on the first half for Lola Bonta. Fired across and turned in! Claire Lavauche!
Some space. Sends it across. A dangerous ball put home.
There by Mace to get the ball loose to Chawinga, who finishes. Of course she does.
Last week, Kansas City set a new league record by extending their unbeaten streak to 17 games, surpassing Seattle Reign's 2014 achievement. Hi everyone, welcome to Mindful Athlete. Today's video is going to be all about the Kansas City Current. Now, if you've been paying attention to the NWSL this season, then you likely know that Kansas City is one of two teams who are still undefeated after 15 games. Kansas City has a record of 10 wins, 5 draws, and 0 losses. And the only other team with the exact same record is the Orlando Pride. But this video is going to be all about Kansas City and what made them so successful this year. So let's just get straight into it. Now, you know we can't have a conversation about Kansas City's success this year without starting with Temwa Chawinga. The 25-year-old from Malawi was Kansas City's big off-season signing, and she is not disappointed so far. No doubt, Chawinga's strongest attribute is her speed. So one of the plays that Kansas City uses is this wraparound pass down the wing that goes around the outside of the fullback, which allows Chawinga to use her speed to run between the two defenders to get the ball. So in the next clip, you'll see Izzy Rodriguez get the ball on the wing and curls the pass around the outside of Houston's fullback, and Chawinga is able to get a great opportunity but just misses wide. Similarly, we see the same play but on the other side of the pitch. So we have Michelle Cooper who makes the pass around the outside of the Utah defender. And once again, Chawinga is able to get a shot on target. Now in this next clip, the defender is actually able to get to the ball first, but just the threat of Chawinga's presence influences the keeper into making an error, which Nichelle Prince is able to pick up and get to Chawinga for a great shot, but just better defense to keep it out. Now, of course, Kansas City also keeps it simple when Chawinga is operating in a central position up top. And they do this by utilizing a lot of long ball passes up the middle of the pitch, which they are top 5 in the league for. So here, we see a pass from Elizabeth Ball from her own box that lands to Chawinga just at the halfway mark. And this clip is good because it shows another one of Chawinga's attributes, which is her strength to essentially muscle off Nicole Payne, freeing up space to her left, which allows her to get a shot off and score. And here we see a medium to long ball pass, and like we saw before, just the threat of Chawinga leads Tarsiani, the Houston defender, to make an error, which Chawinga takes full advantage of. Now, Chawinga is not the only important piece of KC's front line. Bia Zanerato was another big offseason signing for Kansas City. The Brazilian forward has unfortunately dealt with some injuries this season, but when she's been able to play, her strength and ability to hold up the ball provides a different dimension to KC's offense. Next, I'll show a perfect example where Balasagar is able to send it to Bia, who's dropped deep into the defensive half to get the ball. Great first touch off her chest before picking up Michelle Cooper on the wing. And similarly, this time we see Cooper, KC's other forward, utilizing a similar approach of dropping deep, great strength to keep the ball, turn, and then plays a perfect pass to Chawinga down the middle. Now, if I had to pick a description that most fits Kansas City's identity, it'd have to be their high press and aggressive approach to winning the ball back, particularly in the opposition's half. And what this ends up looking like is essentially a man-to-man marking, with each KC player being on the same page of knowing who to pick up and when to step forward. I love this first clip. It starts with Bia pressing the keeper and then the defender. We then see Michelle Cooper step in, Haley Mace, and eventually all that pressure is too much, leading to a Houston turnover that Lola Bonta is able to pick up. Same game, it starts with Michelle Cooper, then Izzy Rodriguez, and eventually Dabina wins the ball back. It truly is a team identity, with every player on the pitch playing with an intentionality to try and regain possession. We have defenders like Izzy Rodriguez, who consistently presses and here puts in a good tackle to recover possession. And even Elizabeth Ball, KC's center back, gets involved. And this just highlights how aggressive this tactic is when essentially the last line of defense is up on the other half intercepting passes. And when I say team identity, I truly mean that, because even the forwards get involved. Initially, Kansas City loses possession after the goal kick, but Michelle Cooper is persistent in pressing the midfielder, which leads to a perfect loose ball into space that Bia is able to pick up on. And then there's Temwa Chawinga.
Opportunity for transition for Houston. Alozi tracked down by Temwa Chawinga, and that dedication to defense. Her coach is going to love that. The fans sure do.
Wow.
together.
Lastly, even when opposition are able to do a good job of breaking Kansas City's high press like Portland does in this clip, the speed of KC's players like Haley Mace allow for Kansas City to recover and minimize damage. Now, I could go on forever showing you even more clips of how Kansas City is able to pull off the high press so well, but I feel like I'd be doing them a disservice by not showing you their comfort in also being able to play out the back. Now, this play starts deep in Kansas City's own half with Haley Mace, and you'll see in these clips that KC's structure helps facilitate playing out the back by utilizing pockets of space that players run into, like Claire Hutton in this clip, who's able to be an outlet to get the ball, turn, and send it to the wing, and now KC's immediately pushing on the break. Again, Hutton finds the space to retrieve the pass from Balasagar, who was being closed down by the Portland player. Hutton's able to send it to Mace, who finds Bia, who's dropped deep, to be an option to get the pass and help break Portland's press. Lastly, I want to show this clip because it demonstrates an important approach to playing out of the back and breaking high press that we don't always see. And that's a defender having the comfort to dribble into space that we see Balasagar do here. Often we'll see the defense in this moment collapse and close in on the defender, but Portland really wasn't pressing much in this game. But nonetheless, it shows the important role that a center back can play in building out of the back that doesn't involve hoofing the ball up the field, which typically results in a turnover. Finally, as I close out this video, I have to talk about one more player that I've been so impressed with this season so far. I named her a couple of times in the last section, and that's Claire Hutton. Now, I wouldn't be too surprised if you hadn't heard of her, because she only signed her first professional contract with Kansas City just this past December. Now, when healthy, KC's typical formation is a 4-2-3-1, and it's in this holding midfield position just in front of the defense that Claire operates. She's a defensive midfielder who's played in all 15 games this season and has started in 14 of them. And here's the kicker. She only just turned 18 this past January, and she's already cemented herself as the starting defensive midfielder on the first place team in the league. And I'm not surprised. Hutton has been crucial to facilitating a lot of what makes Kansas City so successful this year. In this clip, Kansas City are operating on the wing, and you can just see Portland slowly closing in to try and pin them along the line. Hutton recognizes this impending pressure and moves into the pockets of space nearby to make herself available for the pass. Here, when she gets the ball, her initial first step actually takes her towards the two defenders, but she shows her composure and awareness around her to turn and switch the play out of the pressure. Quite similar here against Houston, Hutton's dropped in to retrieve a pass from Balasagar, and right away you can see the three Houston defenders who just look like sharks circling their prey in the ocean. But once again, Hutton is calm, composed, just drops her shoulder outside of the boot move to wriggle around the defender. And then this might be my favorite of the bunch. So Hutton initially gets it and sends it out wide to Mace. Mace ends up giving it back to Hutton. And just the niftiness and quickness of her feet to turn and switch directions leaves the defender in the dust. She then gets her head up and makes a perfect pass out to Izzy Rodriguez on the wing to switch play. Not surprising, Hutton is also key in Kansas City's high press approach, as we see here, where she anticipates the pass to Megan Klingenberg and intercepts it. She ends up continuing her run into the box and is eventually able to get a good shot on target that leads to a corner. Lastly, she's not afraid to shoot from outside the box. Honestly, it's so impressive that this is an 18-year-old in her first professional contract, because you would not be able to tell at all. So Claire is currently a member of the U.S. Women's National Team's U20 squad. And last year, she played in the Pan American Games for the U19 team, who finished with a bronze medal. Hutton was captain of the team and scored 2 goals in the tournament. Now, unless something drastic happens, I fully expect Claire to be a future member of the U.S. Women's Senior Team. The defensive midfield position is one they've been trying to nail down ever since Julie Ertz's pregnancy and then eventual retirement. And the command that Claire has on the midfield of a first-place team that's still undefeated after 15 games and her first pro contract, and she's only 18, only means the sky's the limit for her in her career. I'm really looking forward to seeing her grow. Well, thanks so much for tuning into this video on what has contributed to Kansas City's success so far this season. If you've been paying attention to the NWSL, let me know what you think about how they've done so far. Of course, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, subscribe. If there's any other teams you're interested in me looking at, top or bottom of the table, do let me know. Anyways, I'll catch you in the next video.